Bebop.
Artist Bebop, number 37, the weekly ramble where I take a timer for 22 minutes and artistically ramble. This week, very cool. I think I was stressed last week, and I felt stress dissipate on many fronts. I had a lot of support this week, a lot of good friends, good projects. But the one I'm most excited about, my friend Deborah, is writing a book, and which is just so cool on its own. But also, she asked me to illustrate for it, so I'm so excited about that. That's probably the biggest news. Love that. But this week, it was just cool. I felt back in my flow, back in my head. And because I feel so out of my head a lot. Feel so out of, I don't know. I think I am an emotional person, and sometimes it can get the best of me. But that's all right. That's what the studio is there for every day. But yeah, I had some cool chatter earlier. Somebody hit me up in messages or Facebook, I think, and asked about how I keep the work fun, how I keep the process fun. And I know that it is that for me, that this is pure joy. But it was interesting they were asking that, because I guess I don't really, I maybe take it for granted. I don't know. But my response is that, I came to art when I was a kid. And that initial energy of discovering creativity, which I see in my kids so beautifully, I never lost that joy. And they are such a good reminder of that. One of my daughters was working on a little book. I showed her because she wanted to make a book, so we stapled stuff together, and so they get iPad time at night, and she did away with her iPad time and worked on that book, and it was a proud papa moment. And that was kind of me to a large degree when I was a kid, so it's good. But yeah, the important thing, the other thing they brought up was he was seeing success on the monetary front, and then felt like he was second guessing the work, which that is a tricky balance, or it can be. I don't think it's complicated, because I always think of why I got into it. It is that kid thing, and that kid thing is very much doing what I want. Art classes in school were not generally fun for me, because I was told what to do. I was told things like I was doing things wrong, and I disagree. It's why I'll teach here and there, or be asked to. It's usually like community service type stuff, just helping out a good cause or a nonprofit. But I don't know that I'm a good teacher in that sense, because I don't believe that I should be telling anyone how to draw. Or yeah, it is such a personal journey that I don't know. It's weird to try to direct that. It doesn't feel right to me. But so what I generally end up doing is just showing what I do. I guess that's what all this content's about. Showing what I do. I do it this way. Does that mean that's how anyone else should do it? No. Or maybe you get ideas. Because I'm inspired by other artists. But I realize as I get older, I'm looking less. I look at the artists around me. But I did a whole lot of looking when I was younger. Part of that's not really having that freedom. Being a father. I don't get to the museums as much, but I'm also not, I don't crave it as much as I used to. Because that was education. But at some point, you got your groove, and that's where I'm at. And I have so much fun. So, and I like that I get to share and people have fun with me. So, that's cool. That's symbiotic. I dig it. Yeah, it's funny that he asked that, because it was a lot of what I was thinking about this week. And or just the whole discipline of it too. The whole discipline of everything I'm trying to do lately. Like, I've been writing daily, and I realize what a gift I gave myself doing that. Because I think the most focused I have in my long career. And I'm seeing the fruits of that on many fronts. And I feel like there's more than just pieces. That there's other dimensions, and part of that, one, it's the writing about it, but then thinking about things, thinking about AI, and just using these other muscles that are creative, using the written word, using video and sound and audio, and putting together stories that way. Yeah. So that has been a lot of the thought process. Studio has been grooving. I've got commissions trickling in, so that's nice. I like to be busy. And I like to see what gets commissioned, because it's generally pop art, and yeah, generally sports or music. So I love that. It caters to all levels of my interests. But yeah, I've got a giant Shaquille O'Neal I'm working on. It's really cool. I love Shaq. I love. He seems like so much fun. I like fun people. I emulate that as best I can. Yeah. That's definitely something I teach my kids. Just, which is so funny. And parenthood is so funny. Of all people to be a father. But just being nice. Owning up to when maybe you're not nice. Learning to say you're sorry. All of these are practical guides for anything really, but yeah, definitely in the art world. I think of opportunities that I've gotten and sometimes asked how did you get that? And it's, when I really think about it, I was just nice. I was easy to work with maybe. And more doors open than if you're not. Or if there's negativity. Yeah. Yeah, I think consistency in being playful. I don't know. I guess at some point I got in a groove of it. Lately I've been really, really working on it. Especially like last week was a stressful week, and studio time was studio time. It was always, it's weird to go into the studio because it is another planet, and I forget about everything that I've been preoccupied with during the day kind of goes away. And that's insane. That's an insane feeling that something could obliterate such heavy stuff sometimes. I think the heaviest I ever experienced, and God, that's probably the one time, well, it did help actually, but it was just very sad. Many years ago, my uncle passed away, and he was an older brother to me. He was my first roommate. And because I met him, I must have been 10, and he came to live with us, and I was so excited because I'd only heard stories. Of course, my mother, the storyteller, told stories of Tio Lito, and so when I finally met him, I've always loved that, especially coming from my mom. My mom's stories, when they come to life, I guess that's what I'm kind of toying with. And everything. I was talking to my friend Deborah actually about. I was talking about how on social media I'll post an image. I'll post different images and I'll do different things, but I have some more abstract watercolor stuff that I put out, and they're more. It's like the title, and then I'll use the hashtag to give a little bit more depth to it. And that's so funny. I think of literature when there's a story or in a novel, and when we would take it apart in college, and we had to figure out sometimes what they were talking about, what that was culturally. And so it's funny to become hyper aware of the fact that the pound symbol has subtext. Isn't that nerdy? I love it. Yeah. I will always fess up to having very nerdy tendencies. Yeah, literature. That was, well, those were my majors. My big degrees were in literature, so. But yeah, that's the thing, it's story. It's depth, it's complexity. Yet at the same time, it all means nothing. Means nothing and everything. Isn't that strange? That's a dichotomy. That's really interesting. Because, as much, I don't know, in the end, we're just kind of out of here. But does that mean you don't do it? I definitely don't subscribe to that. I think that's why I do it with more urgency, is I know that I'll be out of here. And I love these things that I do. So I am driven. I guess that was another conversation I had. My friend Steve, he asked, how do you do everything that you do? And, well, my thought was just, is there another option? Or I guess the option is to not do it. To go to sleep at an appropriate time. To, not be talking to my phone at 2:59 a.m. after the kids have gone to sleep. I guess those are options. After having a full day. But it just doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, I'm going to keep going with the playfulness thing. I think the other thing is which I didn't respond to him, is I'm aware of content that I consume. And social media wise, I focus on it being what I want. And a lot of that, I have my motive. It's mainly all motivational for the most part. And then just stuff I like. But I also love podcasts and looking through who's talking. And it's usually entertainment people. But I love those podcasts because you get a deeper look into how they got what they wanted. And even deeper than that, there was a cool one, Justine Bateman. And she was, I guess, I want to check out the book, actually. But she was talking about aging and how she doesn't have the complex of it looking bad. She embraces it. I think she said something like, when somebody asks her what these wrinkles are, that's the body being cool. You don't have those. I admired it. I liked it. An uncommon, at least vocalized point of view. Because yeah, I worry about my kids, but I think that's parenting. I can worry about it, but then I got to do something about it. But yeah, because even in my social circle, I see, it's usually female, but I see this filtered version of that person, and I don't understand why. Because yeah, it's odd. But I understand why, but I don't think I don't think they should feel like they should filter themselves. But I think maybe it's just it's societal. I mean, I am admittedly, I try not to think about I try not to think about how much I put my mug into social media, because you are exposed, you are looking at me, and I obviously don't come in here after wardrobe or makeup or filtered. It's just #raw. It's the hashtag episode. But yeah, and I've always felt like that about just beauty. Relationships I've been in where people are freaking out over how they look, and it always made me a little sad. But I guess in that respect, my mom did an excellent job, because I've always liked me, although I still get like apprehension. But it's just weird because to me, I guess that apprehension is less about how I look, although that's, I don't want to be looking at myself all the time, but but I'm forced to, because even making these videos, I'm looking at the camera, I guess. But I don't know, it also encouraged me, because I've dropped some weight, not to brag. But part of that's looking at the camera and worrying about my health, worrying about being present for my kids. So I think as a mirror, this stuff is good. But yeah. Oh. Post Ramble. Yeah, that was a good ramble, I think. I don't know. No one has thrown shoes through the internet at me yet, so and I'm humbled that people tune in, so I'll just end on that humility. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for anytime you reach out, like, check, comment, send a note. I hope you have a good Halloween weekend, and I will see you next time.
Welcome to my world, El Santo's world. Bebop.